Next, I'd like to introduce you to Scott Curtis, Vice President of Service Delivery at Deloitte Transactions and Business Analytics LLP, along with his Senior Service Delivery Manager, Gary DeChellis. The service delivery team helps corporations maintain and reduce cost levels by building cost-efficient platforms built for global scale while still meeting the market demands for growth. Among many things, Gary and Scott's team has been helping organizations identify and review the variances of key contractual clauses and/or the impacts of introducing new language to those agreements. This is why I've asked them both to join us today to discuss our final business challenge, contract portfolio management. Scott and Gary, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Hey, Charlie, it's great to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So I'd like to start with the words contract portfolio review come up a lot and they get thrown around quite often. Can you guys explain exactly what that is and why it's so important, especially now for corporations?
It's a great question, Charlie. You're right. It gets thrown around a lot. In our view, client contract portfolios, right? They're often loosely managed, largely decentralized. These reviews help add structure and identify contents of contracts, and we view these across a few different areas and different types of reviews that we do. So regulation compliance, we're looking for clauses and whether they comply with new or updated regulations. We're looking at migration efforts, right? So capturing information from contracts that might be required for a new contract management system, a new CRM, ERP, those types of activities. M&A activity, right? That's a use we see from time to time. We look at extracting or assessing the contract value and validating those terms, and then identifying high-risk contracts. So using terms that either we bring from our experience or that the client is specifically looking to address from their templates.
So with that being said, I was thinking a lot, Scott, about a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, and it was really just around like the misconceptions and challenges you guys face when you get to corporation to start a project. Could you share those with our group, just what those are?
Yeah, we've talked about that a few times. Those misconceptions. I think we all experience those. Anyone who works in here. Gary, why don't you share some of what we experience there?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So common misconception that we see in our initial conversations with clients is that there's a magic button, that we receive all the contracts, we press a button, all the information that you want from within is at your fingertips. Unfortunately, that's not the case. The use of technology within a contract portfolio review is more along the lines of a review accelerator. We're able to apply technology in some areas to expedite the process, to streamline our reviews, to add efficiency, and to increase accuracy. Unfortunately, we haven't hit upon that magic button just yet.
Yeah. Ours on the roadmap, so. So with that being said, though, like I do think one thing is I've really liked about your guys' approach is not even just the review aspect, but once the review is done, how you also coach your guys' clients on how to maintain that work. Can you guys talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah. So the maintenance of that portfolio, right? It's they've got to be maintained on a regular basis. When these reviews are completed, there's a lot of value that the client can benefit from, and maintaining it, they've got to keep up with those contract expirations, renewals, amendments, and if they do that and maintain it regularly, they continue to get that value from the whole portfolio and from the reviews that have taken place to date.
So given all like the human review, the large amount of data you guys are capturing, there's got to be a lot of nuances, during the workflow there. Can you guys talk about how you basically at a high level kind of manage those workflows and ensure the quality and efficiency?
The first step that we have going into a contract portfolio review is we want to make an assessment of what we're receiving. What's within that portfolio? What types of contracts are we talking about? Are you dealing with multiple agreement types? What kind of structure can we put around there before we attack our review? And the thought process there is, different types of contracts may have different types of requirements. Which brings us into the next step, which is going to be our data extraction. Again, certain types of contracts may require certain clauses, certain attributes extracted from them. There's where we're using our technology. We're extracting as much information as we can through the technology Then going on to our next step of the extraction QC, where all that information that we pulled, we're now doing a manual assessment of it for accuracy, make sure that we don't have any gaps there. And in some cases for attributes or clauses that we can identify via technology, just supplementing that with some manual review. And then finally, once we've completed those steps, that's where we're just providing our deliverable to the client, whether that be just a standard export, an Excel file, or whichever format may be required there.
So what I'd like to just end with is, one of the things that we always kind of struggle with is there's a lot of uncertainty, and we try to emphasize the importance of getting started now. And I feel like that can be hard. So what advice would you give somebody, like if they had to choose where to start or they didn't know where would you guide them to get started today?
This is a great question, Charlie. The benefit of going through a contract portfolio, analyzing it, reviewing it, whatever term you want to give it, these activities all center around the content of your contracts. And so not only are you able to capture the clauses and attributes that are required today, but with the structure that you've added and gained from going through an exercise like a portfolio review, you're in a position to quickly assess for new areas of risk, right? So as an example, a portfolio that went through a review exercise a year ago, maybe for some specific purpose at that time, if that portfolio has been properly maintained and those attributes maintained, it's now well positioned to go through a review today for areas of risk due to COVID-19, right? And in a year from now, there'll be another event or context that might be industry-wide, economy-wide, or it might be, unique to that organization.
No, that's awesome. And I think it's really important just to know that that can change. And we started off this whole session about talking about the human intelligence portion of these, reviews and workflows. So I was really excited to end our session with you guys today and really hitting home that importance of the human process and technology kind of working together. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're really glad to have you and looking forward to talking to you again soon. See you guys.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the link below to get started with our contract portfolio analysis use case demo package that Deloitte helped us create. And thanks again to Scott and Gary for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.